ask you about three Equifax executives who sold stock after the data breach, but before informing the public. Now, Equifax has said that for whatever reason, the chief financial officer, the information solutions president, and the workforce solutions president, these three men didn't know about this. From what you understand of companies, A, how possible is it that the chief financial officer wouldn't have known of a data breach at a company whose business it is to keep information? And B, when you were at the FDIC, what rules were there when a company knew that it had some danger about selling stock?
Yeah, so it really does raise, if they didn't know about it, then it really raises questions about what their internal controls were to provide immediate notification to senior management of a breach of that size. So I think either way, they don't look particularly good. And by the way, I think they should give back any, untoward profits they got by selling then, if we're going to talk about compensation as well. But everything that's been publicly revealed suggests that they were pretty sloppy going into this, and certainly sloppy in handling it once it was made public.
For this hack, interestingly enough, lawmakers had been getting ready to pass a bill in Congress that protected the credit bureaus by capping how much they could pay out in penalties if consumers were harmed. And 10 of the 14 sponsors of that bill, I might have that I can put on here, received campaign donations linked to the big three credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Now look, people get donations, I get that. But this is where it starts to get complicated for my viewers, right? There are 10 members of Congress sponsoring a bill that seems to go easy on these credit reporting bureaus, and they got money from them.
Yeah, so, well, you're right, Equifax, all three of them, but Equifax in particular spends a lot of money on lobbying in Washington. They have fended off, really meaningful regulation for decades. I mean, and it's amazing because they have so much power over all of us. They get their data without our consent, and it's more dangerous than a bank, actually, because it's coming from multiple institutions over long periods of time. And so you would think that the regulation controls around this would be tighter, if anything. So I'm hoping that this will, lead to some better thought and more objective thought about how we should oversee this triopoly. I think in the interim, Elizabeth Warren has introduced what I think is a very good bill to give us all the right to have a free credit freeze. So if somebody wants to come in and pull our credit file, they have to notify us and ask our consent before they do that, because that's the best defense against identity theft, particularly somebody pretending to be Sheila Bear and applying for a loan in my name. They won't be able to do that. But now it's a very complicated process. You have to go all three bureaus. There's no standardized process. It's cumbersome. It's expensive. So in the near term, Congress should at least do that to help all of us protect ourselves in the wake of this breach.
Sheila, good to talk to you. Thank you very much for being with us. Sheila Bear is the former chair of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation.